Today, using hands-on learning aids and simulation, teaching animal science for agriculture education. So one of the things that we want to just talk about is what we're going to be talking about today, and that is introduction, and then looking at research-based learning, important skills for simulation training, instructor feedback to instructional focus, and then skill development for skilled learning. So just to introduce myself, my name is Jamie McIntosh. I'm the product manager for all of our agriculture and welding products here at Realityworks. I'm current NAA member and AWS member and a former teacher myself, and work very closely with NAA on different speaking topics and different educational training opportunities for agriculture. So Realityworks, we are in about 67% of school districts in the United States, 90 countries worldwide, and we are a partner with Career and Technical Education Association, NAE, AWS, and we go to over 100 different shows a year, trade shows a year, talking, interacting, working with you as the educator. So what we're going to talk about really hits in the agriculture world, and wanted to start with our research-based learning, all the products, and I have some of them here with me from our bovine injection simulator, our 3D flip chart cow here that kind of shows you the insides and allows you to use as a whiteboard and be able to go inside the different the animal itself, to our 3D meat cut behind me, and then we also have our hoof models, both cow and horse. All of these different products that we have really are focusing on research-based learning. All these are different pieces of our story that we have researched deeply and really gone out to you and asked questions about. So just a few examples here, as we brought one of our big products to market, our bovine breeder, we actually went and did artificial insemination training, went through, talked to the experts, worked through with them what it actually takes to really simulate and show proper technique within artificial insemination. Then we brought it to the classroom through our simulator. The example that you see on the left-hand side here is research that we're doing. We actually took cow ears, got them from the butcher, and tested, is our product, is it durable enough? Does it actually, the texture and the ear tag, and when we did ear tags, how does that actually work? Is it the right feel and function for our simulation as it does in the real world? So all this leads to something that we really have focused on, and that is our formula for skilled focused engagement here. And this is kind of just sharing with you how we go through and really try to create products in this marketplace. It always starts with skill development. We then go to skill refinement, skill performance, and then skill sharing. And so getting a little closer to this is that skill development, creating tangible ways to develop an understanding of concepts. And so we do that by, and we see it in the classroom, and so we mimic that same thing of creating opportunities for students to learn. And so it's through simulation, it's through that hands-on learning and giving them key technique opportunities to be able to duplicate and to learn either different systems or different techniques in the classroom in their environment that relates directly to the pathways and the careers that they have. We then move on to skill refinement. And in this case here, it's about giving students the opportunity to assess their ability and to experience what they're doing firsthand. And so gain that practice, repetition, and learning over and over again, so they're really tuned in and honed in onto their skill. Moves to skill performance here. In this case, that personalized and individualized learning, allowing students to go sometimes at their own pace, so that self-paced learning, or being able to understand what the students' talents and strengths are, so then they can really hone in on what my skills are, how am I doing, do I need to do better, where do I kind of look at that through different things like competitions, through different assessments to really understand where am I at and how am I doing. And then skill sharing, allowing for communication, allowing for exploration into careers, into different topics. Where am I at in the world that I'm in? What are my options? What are choices that I get? And then how do I share that? How do I show the talents that I've gotten, the skill that I've developed? What do I actually do? And so all of our products really kind of focus on these 4 areas. So to give a little example here, I'm going to walk through one of our main products here is the bovine breeder. It's an artificial insemination simulator. It's a realistic kind of hindquarters of a cow, and it allows the students to be able to do everything from AI or artificial insemination technique, being able to make sure that they can actually move and get through the cervix to the landmarks where they will do semen placement, and then also pregnancy palpation, be able to tell is the animal ready for insemination, what's their corpus luteum at, are they actually ready to be bred, and then after they are bred, it's that pregnancy palpation part. Okay, am I actually, did I get a viable calf? Am I going to get a viable calf from AI that I've done? So in the 4 C's, or in our skill development here, we have skill development, skill refinement, skill performance, and skill sharing. And it kind of goes through with our look at the 4 C's from creativity, critical thinking, communication, and then competition, really looking at how do we help students to be able to develop their knowledge. And so in this case here, our bovine breeder, we're going to talk about, the first one is classroom instruction. So in this case, our classroom instruction would start with working through, all of our products have curriculum. And so it allows you to show them PowerPoint slides, work with them to be able to understand what you're talking about, the system of the animal, being able to know what the reproductive systems, like the digestive system, giving them that overview of that. Moving into, in the world of artificial insemination, then uterus sample training. In this case, a lot of times you'll see where you'll actually get either from a butcher or you can buy uterus, real live uteruses. And so you can work with students to be able to get that understanding. Again, it's the real thing, but it's not the real thing because you don't have all the other parts of the cow with it. And so you're working through understanding. And sometimes it can be fun too. It's important to have fun, be able to enjoy it, but get them to understand. And one of the things we have is we have a uterus model, allowing you to be able to, in this case, open up and see what I'm actually going through. A life-size model here as it's spread out, and you can actually go through from the vagina all the way to the uterine horns, and being able to actually see how that all works, what's all happening, how it's all kind of going together. And so you can use those uterus samples and those models to really start getting students to understand that training, that knowledge behind it. And then the simulated practice world, and really allowing students to be able to get that skill development and that skill refinement in that simulated practice. And here there's pictures of students actually doing the real thing, understanding and learning how it is supposed to be done, the right technique, the right training, and then actually going through and refining their skills, making sure that they're doing it correctly, being tested on it, and do the practice. And then you get into the live thing, where you're now into that world of skill communication, and then also skill performance, looking at and actually doing the live thing. And the problem here is a lot of times, if I back up a little bit here, in simulated practice, you're going to have a ton more opportunities to be able to do practice before you can actually do the real thing. So this gives students the time to fail, to try new things, to challenge themselves, to get a great understanding before they get out. Because a lot of times in live practice, you don't get that many opportunities. And so in some schools, you may not get any opportunities because you don't have the capability. So it works through these little different pieces, trying to be able to help you to understand how you then can kind of work from one area of skill development all the way to skill sharing. Now, some of the important things here is the skills that you're actually learning. And so I want to just walk through and talk through some of that. Why do simulation and why do hands-on learning? Well, the real big thing, especially in ag education, is because a lot of times these are the types of simulations, these are the types of practices and techniques that you learn that can be too big, they can be too costly, too dangerous, too repetitive, and then too difficult to manipulate. So I'll use, for example, too repetitive. You saw the picture with uterus, the uterus of the cow. Now you can a lot of times get those from a butcher. Sometimes you have to buy them. A lot of times you have to keep them in formaldehyde. And it's one of those things where it's a repetitive thing. You want students to be able to see it, use it, understand how the manipulation of the uterus works. That can be very repetitive to have to buy over and over and over again. That's where using our uterus model allows you to get that understanding and be able to use it over and over again without the cost of over and over again, because it's a model allowing you to use it multiple times. Sometimes it's too dangerous or too difficult to manipulate. Our bovine injection, the picture here, the bovine injection we have here can be just that, where it can be too dangerous for a farmer or for to bring your students out to a farm and allow them to be able to do an injection. The farmer may look at that and say, that's just too dangerous. I don't feel good, or I don't have the ability to allow you to do that to my herd, because by doing that, then I could lose money. It's too dangerous to have a student try this and be able to. So simulation is perfect for that. It could also be too costly. A lot of times you don't have the ability to go to the farm all the time. So how do you bring the farm to the classroom? What can you do there? A lot of times too, the farm is too big, or there's too many things. So what can you do to bring those things into the classroom? Instead of bringing the actual cow into the classroom, we have a cow model. It's 1/6 the size of the animal. So you can train in that. We have our flip chart here that you can go in and see inside of the model, the different skeletal and internal organs here that open up. You can see the cutaways of all those. So again, when it's too big or too costly, using simulation, using hands-on learning can really be helpful in your classroom. We have one educator out of North Dakota who has showed us on Instagram here, and he states simulators allow students to get real life skills to help learn skills in any industry. And that's really important to really think about, is how do you use simulators? You use it to give students real life skills. And so all of our products have that focus, where it's really focusing on how do we get real life skills. So when you have a cow in your classroom for injection, it's not only a very engaging type of a thing to have students be able to see this, but it's, okay, how do you use this? What is the industry standards? How do we show technique? And so we brought all that into our products as well. And this is important because the single largest employer in the world is in agriculture. And so a large number of your students who are in agriculture aren't just taking it for another class to take or to fill their schedule. It's because at some point in their life, they may be employed. Their career path may be down this world in agriculture. And it's a global thing as well. We know that for not just here in the United States, but globally too. But there are challenges with that. There's less students coming from the farm. There's less options for you to go out to the field of study. And a lot of times that field of study isn't available when you're in school. You miss out with the summer break a lot of times. You miss out when the animals are in heat, or when the calving season is happening. You may not be able to get there because you can't actually do that. So in this case here, a lot of times too, there's also a more need for bringing learning into the classroom. There's also that want for ag-related career opportunities for skilled workers. So all these are different pieces here that allow you to really see that there's challenges, but there's a way to overcome that. And that's through the simulation and hands-on world. So for you as an instructor, you need individualized learning. You need to manage your classroom and your students effectively. It needs to be safe, and you want to align with standards and educational best practices. So how do we do this? Well, for example, some of our examples here are our bovine breeder palpation. In this case, it teaches you and your students all the different parts of the corpus luteum stages, teaches you everything about fetal development. We have curriculum that is included. You get the hands-on learning opportunity to be able to feel inside and be able to tell, is that animal ready to be inseminated, or do you have to wait, and what is that all included? And it's important because this is a real kind of hands-on world experience here, because if you do it in the wrong time, you're wasting money for your farm. If you do it in the right time, you could be saving a lot of money and gaining money for your business. And so it's important for students to be able to understand where the different stages are, to be able to understand, to have the resource to be able to do it. And in this case, if you are teaching them through, okay, when is it ready to artificially inseminate, and why it's important, so they don't miss that window of opportunity and then have to go through that whole again and look at how much money they just lost and how much money they had to give up. Those are important things that you can teach with that ability in hands-on learning. Now, for example, another product that we have here is our bovine injection simulator. And I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit here as well. So with our bovine injection simulator, it actually has the ability for you, as I'm standing up here, to do ear tagging. You can do implants, and it has the veins here so you know where you're supposed to be hitting this. We have a injection cover for you to be able to talk about the ligaments and the vertebrae and the shoulder and where you need to be actually doing subcutaneous, intramuscular, where the jugular is located. But then you can also remove that piece and feel down and be able to tell where that area is. And then here I can actually feel the jugular and be able to know, okay, that's where I need to be doing my IV. And so being able to understand where these different pieces are, and then having your students actually do the injections, giving them that opportunity to touch and feel, and then also do the activity as well. And why is this important? Because we have these pieces that this is a difficult skill to manage. This is something that it's difficult to replicate. This is something that it's important to master, because if they stick in the wrong place, or they don't give what they need, or they don't get the blood draw or things of that nature, it can be the death of the animal. It can hurt the meat. It can do a lot of different things to those animals. So it's important that students learn these things. And so doing it in that simulation focus can really help. We also have our anatomical models, and these range, again, and I talked a little earlier about this, from our horse, cow, pig. We have a cat, we have a dog, we have a large dog, a small breed dog, and we also have chicken and rabbit. So all these different anatomical models allow you to bring these animals from the farm into your classroom. And this is important because when you are teaching your students, you can have these animals right in the classroom. You can have them open them up and see how the systems work together, see how they relate to one another and the importance that they have. And so as you can see here from this, they open up, you can go inside, you can see the different systems, you can take apart the ruminant system of the cow and have them feel and be able to understand the different textures of the abomasum, the omasum, and all the other chambers and the features of the product there. And the animal. So a lot of times it's difficult to have these animals in your classroom. It can be classroom management issues because kids get really excited if you bring these animals in. It can be a health issue. It can be a concern there as well. So this is something where you can get that ability to share and to show all this and have these students understand and train before you bring anything in, as well as get them at a confidence level to understand what the animal is and how to use and interact with animals at the same time. So all these things, everything we got here is come from feedback from you. So what we've heard is we don't have enough time. We don't have enough resource and money. And we also need to teach the standard. And so what we try to do is to realize is that we are trying to give you time. We are giving you products that are there, and they're going to be the same day in and day out. So you don't have to worry about, can you get that uterus from the butcher? Can you get that in time? Are your live uteruses that you have going to go bad? This is stuff that you can use time and time again. You can have the students be able to work on it. And a lot of times our products have assessments that give you time back. where you can tell if the students understand and you can move forward, or if you have to stay where you're at. We also have full curriculums for all of our products. So your students, when they're working on something, they're going to have lessons, they're going to have worksheets, they're going to have PowerPoint presentations that you can give them and show them in the classroom. We want you to be able to buy this and have for a long time. So again, you don't have the money, so buy it once and not have to buy it again and again and again, allowing for students to be able to use that, encouraging more students in your classroom, allowing for your schools to say, oh, look, we need to have more money in these areas because our students are using it. And so our focus here is creating educational and time opportunities, repeated usage for less costs in the classroom, and then also make it standard-based, which all of our products are standard-based. Now, again, I told you, but just to kind of give an overview, we have a curriculum here that goes through, and these are some of our bigger models, but it has lessons, 3 lessons for cow, horse, and pig model, and 1 for chicken. And it includes presentation slides. It includes topics like anatomy, digestive tract, reproductive systems, the overall anatomy of the animal. We also have plant science kit as well, so allowing for a lot of different opportunities for you to teach your students in the classroom. Now, why do we all do this? Because we ask questions. Again, we ask for your feedback, and this is just one of our surveys that I wanted to share with you, because it talks about, we have everything from middle school, high school, post-secondary, 2- and 4-year colleges. And so in this case, when we ask the question, what types of class do you teach? We have everything from animal science, plant science, vet, landscaping, exploratory. But as you can see, most of these are teachers, and you are probably in this range, that you don't just teach one class. You teach multiple subjects a day. And so we want to bring in and give you more time by using our products, by looking at these products as opportunities for you to give hands-on learning, give the knowledge that your students need without you having to go create it, with it being right there for you. So when we did a survey on our 3D meat cut, which I'll bring here, I have right here for you. And I'll take a moment here just to show our 3D meat cut. 3D meat cuts poster is great because it fits with the FFA and the 4-H judging competitions, and it has all the primal and the meat cuts here of the animal that are involved in that, so you can actually have students look at these, be able to memorize and use and understand the name, the look of the cut, and then on here it's actually a 3D relief print, and so you can kind of see that relief print here, and that relief print has all the primals of the pork and then also of the beef. You can actually feel the ribs as you put your fingers through here and be able to understand, okay, that is where the different primals are and where the animal they actually come from. So we have our beef cut poster. And when we did a survey to our teachers, it came back overwhelmingly excited about a yes, I want something in this world. We also did it for our bovine injection. And again, overwhelmingly, almost 90% was interested in some sort of a product that we could simulate cow injection, being able to allow you to be able to feel a pulse, be able to do injections in the classroom so students could get that technique. So instructors' wants and needs, you want to have very focused resources, things that help you in the classroom. Memorable experiences. It's important that you have these experiences because that's what engages students. They remember and they can go back to those experiences as they are in their career and remember back to when I learned what this is, how this is important, how I interacted, how I took apart an animal, how I injected, how I did artificial insemination on a simulation for the first time. All those things create memorable experiences. It helps engage students through doing. Not just telling them, but saying, okay, here's the book work that we've done. Here's the classroom activities we've done. Now we're going to actually do this. We're going to show you, and you can then train to get better. And then it helps with time and classroom management as well. When students are engaged, they're less likely to have management problems in the classroom. So skill development, again, is that skill development, skill refinement, skill performance, and then skill sharing. And so when we have Claire the cow, include this because we include a name in this because we want to create new ways to learn with hands-on tools. Bringing a cow model that is 1/6 the size of a real cow and being able to take it apart, take all the pieces out, be able to interact with it, that creates new ways to learn. That brings in skill development, knowing the systems, understanding the reproductive system before you go out and do artificial insemination. Before you do injection, understanding where the different features of the injection site are is very important. We also have, again, posters and worksheets involved there. Skill refinement. We have agriculture career scenario cards, allowing you to actually play kind of this scenario card game where you're talking through, here's a scenario. Now, how are you going to master this skill? What are you going to do in that employment world to be able to understand and then complete the soft skill that's there? Things like responsibility, teamwork, interviewing skills, resume building, respect, a lot, and there's over 20 different soft skills that you can learn that help you with that skill refinement. And then that skill performance, thinking critically to gain an edge over the competition. In this case, if you understand when you should be and how you should be artificial inseminating, making sure that you're doing it at the right time, making sure that you're doing palpation beforehand to make sure that the CL is in the CL3 stage and the corpus luteum is ready to go before you actually, the ovaries are ready to go before you actually inseminate. That is not just critical thinking, but it gives you an edge of, you know how, and you're going to be more likely for success. And then we also have communication effectively for a competency and ability. Things like our bovine breeder gives you a certification of completion, showing that you were able to learn the different pieces of how to artificially inseminate before you go and do the real thing. Showing your competency, showing your ability that you have. Now, through all this that we've talked about here, we have pathway packages allowing you, if you don't have any of these, we have deals and packages that you can get everything all at once. We also have opportunities for you to bunch up and kind of do different packages based on your needs, or you can buy each product individually as well. But that's a little bit of kind of where we wanted to go and wanted to share with you on how to engage your students, how to get some of these things into your classroom. So then you're not just teaching, but you're engaging your students. You're bringing their learning. And all of our products are research-based. So it's trying to bring as close to the real thing to your students so they can learn at the best possible ability that they have. So with that, I want to say thank you as our time is just about up here. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can always reach out to us at realityworks.com and ask us any questions that you have. But I want to say thank you for your time. And also, as you look at these things, you can go to our website at realityworks.com and see all of our different products, see what comes with them, see how they can help your students and what your needs are in your classroom. So at the end of the day, you can use hands-on learning. You can bring new learning opportunities into your classroom for your students. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing it with me.